Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game sales. It is April 21st, 2022, and today we are going to check out the Famitsu hardware and software charts that tell us how did video games do this past week in Japan from that April 11th through April 17th time frame. We're going to begin with the hardware side of things, and the best-selling console of the week was the Nintendo Switch, which moved 60,289 units. Just a little less than 1,000 from what it did last week. However, significantly less than last year's 94,000. But on par with what I thought it would do. I was hoping 60,000 for the week. It did just that. I still am of the mindset that Nintendo is holding some stock for next week's Nintendo Switch Sports, which drops a day after, well, a week after tomorrow, I should say, on April 29th. And I think in addition to that game being a big seller, it's also going to move a fair amount of consoles, provided Nintendo can ship out enough for that debut weekend, but we'll see. PlayStation 5 was the second best-selling platform of the week, which actually went up a little bit from last week's 11,224 to this week doing 11,259. It is about half off of last year's 22,000, but at least we're seeing some above 10,000 weeks for Sony, and that's good as of late. The Xbox Series came in at third, and it did 5,742 units. It actually was the greatest improver this week over last week's 4,068, over 10 times what it did last year when it busted out 545 for the equivalent week. The Nintendo 3DS did 224, which is a little improvement over last week's 194. Remember, Nintendo's not making any more 3DS consoles in Japan or elsewhere in the world, so these are just the last bit of inventory out there. It's down from last year's 498, but understandable. PlayStation 4 was the fifth best-selling console of the week, and it moved 15, up 1 from last week's 14, down a lot from last year's 1,660. You know, Sony did say that for another year at least, due to PlayStation 5 being, in such a limited supply, and for the foreseeable future, them still having some stock shortages, some stock issues, they'll be making PS4s a little bit more. So we'll see another million or so get pumped out in addition to what they already planned. And how they distribute that, whether it's more for Japan or United States or Europe, Australia, etc., probably going to be more West than Japan, so don't expect these PS4 numbers to spike anytime soon. If you look at the breakdown per console into its specific categories, you got PlayStation 5 physical did 10,000 versus the digital edition doing 1,200. The Xbox Series X and S a little bit more balanced with 3,000 going towards the X and 2,700 for the S. The Nintendo Switch OLED model, once again, was dominant with its 27,000, followed by the base Switch with 22,000, and the Lite doing 10,000. I hope that Nintendo is preparing some massive inventory to ship out next week, April 29th, to Japan. The thing is, they are hot right now all over the world. Unlike Sony and Microsoft, who are giving hundreds of thousands to Europe, Australia, and North America, and giving tens of thousands at best to Japan, Nintendo's giving hundreds of thousands to all of the territories. So globally, you have Nintendo Switch selling more than every other console, and also per country dominating in most of the countries. You will see an NPD chart here or there where, okay, for that United States market, Xbox took the lead or PlayStation took the lead, but in Japan, it's always Nintendo, and worldwide, for a while to come, it's still going to be Nintendo globally. We'll see if things shift towards the end of the year. Can Nintendo keep up this dominant position, this momentum? Some people will say, yeah, they're in the lead because they're not as affected in the terms of chip capacity, creation, distribution of consoles, and that is true to an extent. Nintendo is suffering from chip shortages and is not able to bust out as many Nintendo Switch consoles as they would like, but not as much so affected as PlayStation and Xbox are with manufacturing and releasing PS5s and Xbox Series X and S consoles. However, Nintendo isn't just winning because of that. They're also winning because they have a darn good platform. They've got competitive prices with that $350, $300, and $200 models, 5 years worth of tremendous titles, and in its sixth year, fantastic games on the horizon, with even year 7 being like, okay, depending on when The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's sequel comes out, that could be an after 6-year game, thus being in year 7, and Metroid Prime 4 could also be an in year 7, probably likely for that one. So you already have then, wow, 7 years of solid titles. So they're not slowing down. They're having great game output. They can always drop the price of the console when they feel like we need to. That's exciting stuff. So, everyone is probably where they should be. Would PS5 and Xbox Series X and S take the top spot globally if they weren't as impacted? Probably some months that would be the case. However, that Japan differential doesn't make it a guarantee, because whereas the rest of the world, they might be kind of within the realm, same ballpark, so to speak, Japan, they're nowhere near the same. Even if you made hundreds of thousands of PS5s and Xbox Series X and S consoles per month, I don't think that all hundreds of thousands would sell. More would sell, maybe in that like 50 range, 70 range, per week, which is a couple 100,000 per month at best, but not in that, 400, 500 per month consistently. I don't think the demand is there in Japan necessarily yet. And maybe it won't even get that high of demand throughout the generation for those two consoles, at least, PS5 and Xbox Series. But yeah, that's a little bit of my analysis on that. If we go into the software side of things, the best-selling game of the week was Kirby and the Forgotten Land, that went up. Well, not up, but stayed on top, I should say, with 38,234 units, only down 36%. Not bad at all. Physical alone, over 500,000, 589,200, very solid. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, that debuted and was the second best-selling game of the week with a respectable 27,199 units. Atlas is probably pretty happy with that. In third, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it moved 13,167 units. Winning 11, not winning 11, I see winning and I want to say 11. Winning Post 9, 2022 from Koei Tecmo, also a Nintendo Switch title, did 12,704 units. In fifth place, Battle Spirits Connected Battlers did 10,764 units. In sixth was the PlayStation 4 version of Winning Post 9, 2022, and it did 9,421 units. You look at the split, and yeah, the Nintendo Switch version did a good 25% plus better, 12,704 versus 9,421. Overall, the game combined did 22,000 or so for Koei Tecmo, so not too bad. Hopefully its digital sales did all right, and that the game, reaches 100K. Shouldn't be too unimaginable. In seventh place, Minecraft on Nintendo Switch. It moved 9,114 copies. In eighth was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it did 6,643. Ninth was Pokemon Legends Arceus, still hanging in there. Awesome game. 6,444 copies is what it did. And in 10th place, Ring Fit Adventure, with a 0% change from the previous week, moving 5,064 copies. Overall, this top 10 has 9 games on the Nintendo Switch and 1 title on the PlayStation 4. Will Winning Post 9 for either platform still be there next week? If they have less than a 50% drop, they might end up like in 9th or 10th place. But if they drop greater than that, particularly the PS4 version, it'll be out, possibly both. 13 Sentinels will probably hang in there, because even if it has something like a 60% drop, that'll still be in that 15,000 range or so. And if you look at it, 15,000 means you're still probably in the top 4 for next week. But we'll see. All right, that's going to do it today for Video Game Sales with Paul Gale Network. Thank you for watching. It's been fun talking as usual. I look forward to your comments in the comment section below to have some fun discussion. Take it easy. See you next time. Bye.